What if the news could unite us across our differences? And what's really going on in the halls of power, regardless of who's elected in office? Welcome to the Want to Know weekly newsletter, where we save you time by summarizing important news articles buried by the mainstream, revealing both the darker forces shaping society and the best of human goodness, creativity, and collective power. Here is this week's curated news collection. Remember Operation Fast and Furious, where the US essentially armed Mexican drug cartels by allowing thousands of black market guns to flow into their hands, leading to historically high violent crimes in Mexico? This scandal only came to light after a Border Patrol agent was killed by cartel members using these very weapons. Not only was Fast and Furious approved at the highest levels of the Justice Department, but the Obama administration and his Attorney General tried to cover up the whole scandal. American-made black market arms are still a favorite of the Mexican cartels, and now these weapons are getting more sophisticated in their arms race with Mexican law enforcement. Cartels are using US-made Javelins that can destroy military tanks and take down helicopters, and other military-grade weaponry that outclass the Mexican law enforcement. Everyday people all across the country continue to be subjected to warrantless surveillance. The U.S. Postal Service shares personal information from thousands of Americans' letters and packages with law enforcement every year for the past decade, without requiring a court order. FedEx is working with local police to build out an AI car surveillance network using tools made by Flock, a car surveillance startup. Flock already spans 4,000 cities across over 40 states, with 40,000 cameras in use that track vehicles. What could go wrong with a private company that has privileged access to personal data that normally is only available to law enforcement? From spying on political activists and progressive movements to ineffective facial recognition systems that frequently misidentify innocent people, it's questionable whether mass surveillance is actually effective in maintaining public safety and reducing crime. More developments are underway with the military-industrial complex. While attention is appropriately on the war in Ukraine and Gaza, let's not forget about Africa, which has seen a 41,000% increase in violent events since the first years of U.S. counterterrorism assistance in the region. During this time, the U.S. has supported at least 12 coups in Africa, and the State Department and Pentagon are failing to provide public data about what we're even doing in these regions. Instead of transparency, a new Pentagon analysis has blamed Russia for destabilizing governments across Africa. At least a dozen Navy SEALs have died by suicide in the recent years, and lab reports show that repeated blast exposure from firing their own weapons during training has caused significant brain damage in these individuals. As the article states, years of training intended to make SEALs exceptional was leaving some barely able to function. And doctors treating these injured troops diagnosed their suffering as PTSD, when it's likely caused by repeated exposure to blast waves way before the battlefield starts. More evidence suggests that bioweapons research created COVID, the virus that rocked society to its core. You can watch our Mindful News Brief video about this at the link provided in this news article summary, which discusses a recent audit by the Defense Department Office of Inspector General. The audit discovered that over $15.5 million in Department of Defense grants from 2014 to 2023 flowed through subrecipients to research organizations in China and other foreign countries for studying potential pathogen enhancements with pandemic potential. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic when it comes to UFO phenomena, it's hard to deny the fascinating testimonies from high-level military officials. Some of the most credible investigations into UFO phenomena involve the long-standing history of UFO presence near nuclear weapons, as reported by hundreds of military officers. Retired Army Colonel Carl Nell has had a long Army career and experience in aerospace and was the former director of the UAP task force. Recently, he claims that non-human intelligence not only exists and has been to Earth, but has been actively interacting with humanity. Well, the news isn't all doom and gloom, and it never is. Here are this week's inspiring stories. From bees to octopus, squid, and fruit flies and fish, new research into the minds of animals reveals strong evidence of an animal consciousness that can experience pain, pleasure, joy, excitement, and other sentient emotions, which is leading to governments including these animals in the Animal Welfare Act. Astronomers are actively searching for signs of advanced alien technology and may have discovered evidence suggesting the existence of Dyson spheres, extraterrestrial megastructures designed to harness energy from stars. Proposed by theoretical physicist Freeman Dyson, these spheres represent a compelling theory. As a species advance technologically, its energy demands increase. Recently, astronomers identified 60 candidates potentially linked to Dyson spheres. And lastly, a woman left school to care for her family during the Second World War. 83 years later, at age 105, she just completed her master's degree in education from Stanford University. Check out these news article summaries below for the full stories. And remember, we can't shift the chaos we're in until we name it. When we can recognize what's pushing us in our personal lives and as a society, we already have a degree of freedom from it. Challenging information can paradoxically remind us of the greater good. It is the courage of the people and the love for the common good that brings these injustices to light, fueling open dialogue and constructive action. We invite you to share any comments, thoughts, or questions below. We're all in this together.